Dalvin Cook, again this year, proved that when he's healthy, he has the potential to be a top 3 running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
I say healthy because, of course, this year the issues popped up again with injuries. I think he played 13 of the possible 17 games, which we'll kind of get into with the stats later. But, I mean, that's a big thing, and that's always been a big knock on Dalvin Cook's career is that the guy just can't stay healthy. He hasn't played a full slate of games yet in his career, which I think – it brought him back in people's minds a little bit this year, like ranking wise, where he stands. And it's hard not to, because I mean, obviously, as they say, the best ability is availability, and he isn't always available. But man, just when he's out there and when he's perfectly healthy, you see the flashes. Like I was surprised he played that. I mean, I think his best game this year was a game in Pittsburgh.
Right.
I was surprised that he even played that game. Like with the shoulder, you think you're bumping people all the time. I thought for sure he wouldn't play. But that game, nobody barely ever even touched him, really. But so you can, I mean, he wants to play through things. He's a tough guy, but it's just he just gets those nagging injuries, and he just can't finish a full season. So it's frustrating, especially with kind of what we're paying him. I think he's a valuable player, but when they gave him the contract they gave him, I was just kind of like, God, he can't finish out a season. So I think he would have made more if he had finished out all the season. So I guess that can be an argument as well. But overall, I thought he had a good season. I mean, even missing all those games, he still had over 1,000 yards rushing. So just one of those seasons where it could have been a great season if injuries and then probably some play calling and offensive line play didn't get in the way of that. But what were your thoughts on Dalvin this year?
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. I think, it is, you can't be getting injured that often and I don't know, and expect to really help us win enough games and stuff like that. But I would say I'd have to agree that when he does play, he's like amazing. And I know you talked about the contract and everything, and I think you are right that it was kind of like, what are we gonna do? I mean, there isn't running backs like Dalvin Cook everywhere. Not to his level anyways. I mean, you can, it's actually kind of crazy how often you can find like pretty solid running backs out there, but not to his level. And when he's healthy, I just don't think there's much, there's not a lot of players at all that are like him out there. So I think for me, I probably would take that risk on the contract. I'm a big Dalvin Cook fan. There's something, I don't know. He's just so good. Like you mentioned the Pittsburgh game right after what was an ugly shoulder injury, and to him to bounce back and honestly, earlier in the year, I kind of felt like he looked a little slow. I don't know why. He just seems slower than normal.
I think one of the things is he wasn't breaking those tackles that he used to break.
Yeah.
Like usually before someone would touch him and he'd find a way out of it. But usually like this year he was touched and he was down. I thought it was a little, I thought he missed a step too, kind of. It seemed like that.
But when he came out for that Steelers game, I swear, like all of a sudden everything was back again, and he was running hard. He was running good, fast. He was agile. So I don't know, like it's going to be really confusing, and it's hard because I want him as our running back so bad. He's so good. I don't think we're going to just go and find another Dalvin Cook, but it's hard because he can't just be injured all the time. But he is a running back, and running backs always get injured, and the scary thing with him is like, all right, so then how long are you going to be able to last as a running back in the NFL? I mean, you see all the time these running backs kind of like break down and not have like a long shelf life or whatever.
Right.
But overall though, man, he did have a good season when he was healthy. Like you mentioned before, the coaching and all that stuff, I don't think helped him. I think and honestly, and another annoying thing is I do think can be a really good receiving back. And there's not very often, like I forgot what game it was, but there's one game he had one huge third down conversion, like right up down the field in the middle there.
I think that was the Pittsburgh game.
It was. Oh, was it the Pittsburgh game? Yeah, I think
so.
Like it's an ability that he had that we just didn't use under Zimmer. So I think there's a chance that there's even more that we can get out of him, and it could be good if we start lining him up for more receptions and stuff instead of just running him all the time, because maybe that will help a little bit on the injury thing, and we can kind of use him as more of a dual threat, because I think he has that ability.
Yeah, I would agree. So let's take a little bit here and let's jump into Dalvin Cook's stats for this season. As we mentioned, he played 13 of a possible 17 games, 249 rushes, 1,159 yards, 89 per game, fifth in the NFL. 6 touchdowns, and then he had obviously added the 34 catches for 224
Mhm.
yards. We were both a little bit shocked to see there was no receiving touchdowns. But, when you're hurt and you're not able to play to your full potential every game, I guess that makes sense. And like you said, with the coaching, they don't use him. I don't think, I agree with you. They did not utilize him as much as a pass rusher as I thought that, or a pass catcher as I thought
Yeah.
that they would.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think they needed to do that more. And honestly, like our red zone plays were, I don't know. Our coaching, I think, did have a big were kind of a big issue for him this season, especially with the touchdowns, because usually you'd see more touchdowns out of him. It is only 13 games, and he was fifth in yards in 13 games,
Right.
and that is saying something. He played a whole season. He's probably top 3 at least, obviously. And then, I mean, who knows? He could have been the Jonathan Taylor went off, but he
Yeah.
could have been the 1-2 running back in the
Right.
NFL. And I think skill wise, he is, and that's why he's so valuable. That's why it's like, man, you like with his contract and stuff, like with him being healthy, it's like 100 times worth it. Uh, but with him not being able to be healthy all the time, we'll see. But I mean, I like him as our running back, and I hope that I'm hoping next year, man, he has a good one and is a little bit healthier.
Right. Yeah, that would definitely be ideal. But yeah, like going back to some of the play calling stuff with him. I mean, of course, teams know how Zimmer ran offenses. So obviously you stack the box against him. No running back, especially with an offensive line. I mean, the offensive line isn't terrible. There's good pieces there, but that center with the center of the line on the right side with Bradbury and Udo obviously didn't help matters. And especially when teams
Yeah.
know that you're going to run it on first down, sometimes even second down. Obviously, I think that also played a huge part of why he wasn't as explosive as we've normally seen. So, and then I mean, obviously, when he went down in that Seattle game, I believe that was an ankle injury, wasn't it? Early on in the season, or
I don't
no, it was
really
a groin. It
remember.
was a groin, I think.
Groin.
Yeah. So that's when Madison took over that game and played pretty well.
Yeah. Luckily,
But
we do have Madison actually. And since we'll probably not make a review game for Madison because we're kind of doing all the starters, but we can talk about Madison too. As long as we have, it is nice that we do have him. So if Cook does go, 'cause you can like Madison is really good, but he isn't Delvin Cook. Like
no,
there's a difference of skill level there. But if he
right.
goes down, it's so nice to have someone like Madison be able to step in and take that over. So
Yeah.
it's not as bad when you have both of those. But at the same time, like Madison's good enough to be a starter on another team. So I think he's also, and we've talked about this earlier in the season, he could also be up for trade potential this
Yeah.
offseason too, I think.
But it's funny you mentioned that because it is weird, like you say, oh, it looks like Delvin's missed a step, it looks like he's got a little slower. Then you see him compared to Madison. Yeah, Madison's a good running back, but Dalvin Cook just has that the shiftiness and the extra gear that Madison just doesn't. And that's where you see the separation between Madison and Cook. Now, I think in the coming years, you're going to see Madison be jumped by Kene Nwangwu. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I think Kene's going to be, who knows down the road if maybe Kwesi wants to look at trading Dalvin Cook and moving Kene into that starting spot with maybe him 1-2 punch with Madison. I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just saying it's an option. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to know you have that, but it's just, I don't like having to rely on them as much as we have had to.
Right.
With this with Dalvin Cook and how he's been. So yeah. Any other thoughts on these stats at all?
No, I mean, yeah, let's just get him healthy and if he has a healthy season, man, I think he could like when he's healthy and he's on like just Dalvin Cook, man, it is crazy. Like you mentioned, he looks like he's just like moving in slow motion compared to like the other team. Like he's just like walking around while everybody else is just, I don't know. It's just like the craziest looking thing. He's such a special running back that, man, you just hope he's healthy next year, and he's such an important part.
Definitely, let's hope so. So, what are you thinking for grades? What do you got? What do you got for Dalvin this year?
Grades for Dalvin. If he was healthy all year, I think I would definitely give him an A, but I'll give him a B+ because I think having the 5th most rushing yards for only playing 13 games is very impressive, and I got to give him a B+ on that.
I'm going to go a little lower. We got to be fair. We talk about the Kirk contract and the production. You got to look at the same thing with the running back position as well. I think with the injuries the way they are and just kind of the way things shake out with Dalvin sometimes, I'm going to give him just a solid B. again, great stats. Like you said, was it 5th in rushing, 6th in rushing, whatever.
Yes.
Very solid, especially for missing some games. But it's just the injury thing and what you're paying him. I just can't get over that. And it's frustrating to watch. It's like Byron Buxton with the Twins. Like there's so much potential, but the guy just can't stay on the field, and that's where I get frustrated watching it. But obviously, like you said, when he's healthy, when he plays, he's one of the best backs in the league. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give him a B. Still good, but could be better. Could live up to the contract.
He's got an A next year. He's got an A next year. On the way to the Super Bowl,
right.
under Jim Harbaugh, maybe. It's an early episode. Actually, we might release this episode after if we don't even know the news yet.
Right, exactly. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a different episode. But anyway, with that being said, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Let us know down in the comments section what your thoughts were on the season for Dalvin Cook. Give us your grades. Let us know if you agree or disagree with us. Right up here, you'll be able to find some other videos that we have done in the past recently here. And also, most importantly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down here to get the rest of the content throughout the rest of the season or the rest of the off season. It's going to be an exciting off season, and we're ready for it. So we will see you guys in the next episode.
SKOL Vikes.